Hey guys, and welcome back to some more Factorio sending supporters to space. And I've done a tiny bit of off-screen work. I've added another iron smelter and pretty much fully tapped this iron patch we have here. I've rearranged the miners a little bit, fully tapped, so we now have three kind of dedicated lines going to these three smelters over here, which apparently are not in coverage. I haven't tied the line in yet because I'm going to have to do quite a bit of rearranging, and we don't need it. Well, we kind of need it, but what we're going to do this episode is we're gonna go out in the tank and prepare, kind of pave a path to the oil out there, because we desperately need oil, and I'm really hoping we find some coal here soon, because this coal situation is getting pretty dire. Now, I have had people comment giving some suggestions on how to save coal and energy and stuff. I'm not quite at the point where I think I need to do that yet. I know I'm cutting it close, but hey. So I've been making a little bit of flamer fuel here, because the tank with flamer fuel is an absolute monster at clearing forests, which are quite a bit in our way over towards this oil. So then we should be able to explore more, though, like easier with the tank, and find some coal as well. Not necessarily this episode, but it should be a lot easier in the tank instead of the car, which just kind of got wrecked by biters, honestly. So I'm going to plug this in. I turned this off just temporarily to get some flamer fuel here. So that's good. I'm going to let him just kind of, run through whatever steel's left. It looks like this is about it. So I'll just collect this last bit. I've prepared things. I've made some train stuff, some rail tankers, or a rail tanker. And let's see, I've also made a tank over here. Of course, it's nighttime right when I want to head out. Of course it would be. And then also need to rehook up this. Yeah, okay. Because I disconnected that to give it to here. But anyway, so the plan is to head out, and I've also saved up some solid fuel to put in the tank because it does make it faster. The fuel value now, or fuel type, affects, you can see vehicle acceleration. It affects both vehicle acceleration and top speed for every vehicle, both cars, tanks, and trains. So definitely worth having. And this actually kind of brings up a good discussion as I just run over to gather some last minute materials here. People were commenting even just last episode when, I was making the fluid wagon at the very end. They're like, why use a fluid wagon? The barrels are better. They are. Barrels are better in terms of transportation amount. A fluid wagon only holds 75,000. An entire cargo wagon full of barrels, like liquid barrels here full of crude oil, is 100,000 worth. But there's two reasons. One is a rail tanker, as I like to call it, but a fluid wagon, and I'm trying to figure out, I want to get rid of some of this coal. Keep some just in case for emergency fuel purposes. But part of it is because the liquid wagon with pumps will fill up and empty extremely quickly, a lot faster than barreling. Like, unless you just have like 10 barrelers or like 2 of them fully speed moduled, you're going to be able to empty and fill a rail tanker a lot quicker. And also, it's just cool, man. These things look so great, and they're just so cool that I'm just doing them for that. You know what? If I lose 25,000 oil value in it, then so be it. I mean, to be honest, guys, it's going to take forever just to fill up 75,000. So I'm not really worried about that. So we need to grab tracks. I need to get rid of some of my damn junk. Go throw these in the circuits or something. Here, you guys can take some of that copper. We do need this. In fact, I'm just going to grab as much of this as possible. We will be burning through it, that is for sure. And then we need some tracks, of course, for our trains. So I'm just going to grab a ton of track. And then I better not die, because this would be a very expensive death. We don't really need signals. Holy hell. Jesus. Well, that'll last me a while. Can't believe I forgot to do that. Rookie mistake. So yeah, guys, cap your chests. Me and Will harped on this a lot in our Fix It series, and this was just a mistake. I just forgot. But yeah, cap your chests, because now I got chain signals at the Ying, more than I'll need for a very long time. Okay, so we have that. We could use some pipes for sure. I do need some pumps. I can make those once we get there. I do want to grab a couple engines though, just in case. You know, it's good to be supplied. Everyone always makes fun of me, like in the multiplayer series, about me carrying around all this junk. You know, it's better to be prepared, I think, because there's so many times, if you've watched the multiplayer series, there's so many times that Will or Mojo or whoever, we're out and about and they don't have something. And they're like, Xterm, you got this? I'm like, hell yeah, I do, because I'm prepared. So let me just stand here for a second, because I'm gonna hit myself if I forget. We have a tank. We have locomotives. We have a fluid wagon. We can make another fluid wagon if need be. We have stuff to make pumps. We have pipe. We have pump jacks. We don't have power. Running power out there is going to be interesting. We're going to probably run it along our rail lines. The main objective now is just to clear path out there. And I know, like, we did combat once already, but that was with turret creep. The tank is much more exciting, I think, and it's actually, like, really doable now. They've buffed the tank quite a bit and such, so that's why I want to show this. I'll show this for one episode, and then, you know, do quite a bit off screen. Like you guys said, and I'd mentioned before, you know, I'll do everything kind of once, and then the more mundane stuff I'll just do off screen. So we're heading out to this oil, and this one we can actually grab at the same time. So we're gonna head out this way. I'll explore this just in case there's something good hiding in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw our tank down, throw in some solid fuel, throw in some ammo. I don't want it in the tank, because if somehow the tank gets killed, well, if it gets killed, I'm probably screwed. But if it does, I don't want to lose all the ammo if I, like, stick it in its inventory. Break. There we go. So, yeah, this thing, check out this flamer, guys. This is so damn cool. I love this thing. Oh, man, with these new headphones I have, it actually sounds really nice. The flamer. So I need to be conservative, because I don't have that much. I don't really want to use this on the biters, because, you know, I only have 27 cartridges. But, I mean, this thing does fine just plowing through the trees, for that matter. You can see. It slows it down a little bit. Way, way better than the car, though. And I mean, this thing, it has 2,000 health, and they've gotten rid of resistances, which I'm not really a fan of, like, getting rid of it, because I kind of liked to see the resistances, but this thing is really beefy. Like, we mostly just have small biters and some medium biters spawning now. They won't be able to do anything to me in this. Like they could just surround me, and I could just sit there probably for, like, 2 minutes straight without them killing this. So I think we're pretty good to go. I'm just going to explore this, make sure we haven't missed anything. I don't want to kill bases unless I have to, because killing the bases increases the evolution factor by quite a lot, and I would prefer to not do that yet. I'm not really military prepared, so I would prefer to avoid killing them. Some of these we'll have to, actually these we might as well, because we're going to have to bring a rail line straight through here. You can see how much damage this thing does. The bullets do like double damage in the tank. It's pretty ridiculous. And I can just run over these two just to demonstrate. It barely even damages the tank. Now, like I said, I think it was last episode, or maybe it was on stream, I said, but the big worms, you do got to be careful, because if you run over those, they actually do quite a bit of damage. And then some biters, like the big biters, you can't really run over them that well. If you have enough speed, you can, but it gets a bit dangerous with them too. I mean, you can see I just ran over a ton of bases, rocks, trees, and I'm like, what, like a 1/10 of the way damaged? So this thing is really good. I'm so glad they've made this viable. Because, you know, the tank used to be okay. Like, it was decent early game. It was okay mid-game. But this thing, you can take, like, if you get uranium ammo, oh, man. Once you get uranium ammo for this thing, oh, man, this can go into late game. Or at least, like, the early late game. There we go. Clipped him. And we're done. It's so easy. I love it. Okay, so we're going to head out this way. I don't really need to mess with them because we can bring a rail line straight through here. And actually, I kind of want to just curve down here. So we're going to hang a bit of a left. Got to get this unexplored chunk out of the way. It's going to drive me nuts. So will that, for that matter. But hey, I'll mess with that later. Okay. Smack. I feel so bad for these guys. Turn, turn, turn. Not where I want to go. Oh, we got a straggler, I see. Sorry, bud. Alright, so I could be doing some research, but I would prefer to save. You know, because if I don't do research, pretty much all my production stops, which means my smelting stops, which means we're not consuming as much coal, and we really need to conserve coal. And I pretty much have all the research I need right now. I really, really, really need to find coal. Like, majorly need to find coal. Clear all this out because we'll need to bring a rail through here anyway. Yeah, so this thing doesn't do much to the bases. It's far more efficient to just use the ammo. Yes. I love this thing. It's so awesome. This was our seedings idea. He added it like at the very last minute. Before 15. This is absolutely fantastic. We'll just bring a rail line straight through there. Clear the rock. And this is where it gets a little bit iffy. I'm actually going to repair, you know, just in case. This is a pretty big base. Get all the way repaired up. Throw some full ammo in there. And we do need to clear all this out. We could maybe avoid it, but we're just gonna... Oh, crap, I knew I forgot something. This actually could be bad. There's some big worms in here. This is when like tank shells would be really handy, or grenades. Speaking of grenades. If I can take out the bases fairly decently, then the main thing is just going to be knocking out those big worms. You can see, though, like, I'm not even taking any damage, hardly. I'm just ignoring the biters, because I can kill them later, right? I can, like, train them around and kill them. Like this. I need to take out the bases, though. Oh, man. Okay, well, I took out some. Oh, this is getting a little bit dangerous, mostly because it's slowing me down. I got an achievement. I don't know what it is. I ain't got time to look. I need to stop and repair. Come out here. Surprise! Whew, okay. This next round, we should be able to just blaze straight through there. And the one thing I forgot was defenses for the outposts, because I told you, I knew I was going to forget something. I knew it. Do we have anything? Well, we have I could make turrets. I ain't got a single wall on me, though, so that's absolutely brilliant. Well, we'll have to come back anyway. Screw you, worm. Yes. I love this. This actually makes the combat pretty fun for me, honestly. Trying to kill these spawners so these idiots will stop spawning. Oh, I've aggroed them from the other base. That's no good. I love that they just melt. They just absolutely melt. There's another base over there. I'll probably want to repair up for that. So yeah, guys, if you can get a tank, man, I'm telling you, this is the way to go. And I mean, this thing's pretty easy. You need the military science to research it, but, you know, other than that, it's stuff you would have by then anyway, really. So if you have to do combat in your game and you're having problems, or even if you're not having problems, and you just want some fun outside of turret creep, highly suggest the tank. And man, let me tell you, I'll be using this thing, like once we get uranium ammo, I'll definitely be using this. It will just absolutely, like with uranium ammo, this thing even melts big biters, believe it or not. It'll just melt right through them. It's really the behemoths that behemoths you have a problem with. Okay, sweet. So we have some oil. I want to go kill this base and the one down there, and then we'll set up this outpost. Hopefully this base isn't that big. It's hard to tell sometimes. I should at least stick some more ammo in here. Alright, there we go. It's about to be nighttime, so that's great, as usual. Oh my god, these autosaves. Worst time ever. Yeah, really the only main issue with running over these is it slows you down like that. And then there's potentially getting surrounded. But, you know, even, like I said, with these small dudes and a couple medium guys, even if they surround you, you're going to have a long time to survive in this tank. Circle around, get him. Now that is a base I do not want to mess with. I'd rather fend off the little attacks it sends at me at this outpost than to actually go kill it right now. In fact, the amount of stuff I've killed is probably not too good. Already at 3.3 evolution, which is not really a good thing. I'm actually surprised it's that low with all the stuff that I've killed. Shoot him. I mean, tank shells would have been good here. I mean, maybe I can make tank shells. I don't know. Some grenades would be nice right about now, don't you think? Problem is, all these are like linked together, so just gonna end up going into an infinite kill thing, which is not what I want at all. This is gonna be the last base I killed. It's kind of separated from the rest. I aggroed some of those guys down there, but that's fine. Get wrecked, you stupid bugs, cockroaches. Whew. Can I make tank shells? I don't have any explosives. Be able to once I get oil. So there you go, guys. There's the tank. Pretty damn awesome. Yeah, we can do some good exploring with this. It's going to be quite a while before we hit a point where we don't want to be venturing out in the tank. So now that that's done, let's set up this oil. Don't have walls. I could at least slow down some turrets. Oh god, I love this feature. So here's a nice feature that is in 15. When you grab a pump jack, it'll highlight any oil wells in the area like this. It didn't used to do this, and it would sometimes be near damn impossible to find these oil wells. Like if they were in a forest, or if you remember back in the main base, the first time I highlighted this feature, one of them was like under shrubbery and stuff, and I could not for the life of me find it. I probably wouldn't have been able to find it if it hadn't been for that feature, because it was just like completely buried. Now let's see if we can do this properly. And what I mean by properly is you don't really want to make a loop out of your oil pipes here. Sometimes I kind of accidentally do it. We're gonna try to avoid it. I think the main thing here is, where do I want my train coming in? Probably like up here, because this thing's gonna be here maybe, and come down and go through there potentially. Now I'm not sure if the biters have changed in regards to if they like really go after trains or not. I kind of hope not. It's gonna be a massive pain defending all my rails, I can tell you that much. So like, this is kind of a loop, I guess, but what we can do is, instead of bringing that one down to here and then bringing it up, what we can do is bring this up. It's not going to be perfect. I mean, you know, whatever. It'll still work. It just may not work quite as well or quite as quickly. But we're going to do something like that. And then he's going to go up. Love these new pipe graphics. Looks how these are so great in HD. Like, you can even see like little bolts holding them together and stuff. So awesome. Okay, so we have this oil. I kind of want to grab this oil over here, but for now I really... That can be piped in really easily later. I'd rather just have this, and I'm trying to see... Screw you, rock. come up, and then turn, probably. Yeah, this would probably be good. Let's stick this here. Oh, it's worth the wait. Wait for it. Okay, so that achievement apparently was... that was one of the custom ones from Can. That was probably, I guess, placing a rail without dying. These new rails look so nice, guys. Like, this is... I love these. These are one of my favorite graphical things in 15. They look absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we're going to turn this down like here. And obviously we're going to start building like real main lines at some point, but this would be a branch anyway. God, I hate these rocks. This would be like a branch anyway, right? So the main line would maybe run like kind of here-ish where my mouse is. This would be a branch, and then we'd branch down for the copper. So this isn't really we're not gonna really have to redo this part once we actually get a real, 2 4-lane main line. I mean, we'll have to tie it in with a T-junction properly and stuff, because right now it's just gonna be, like the one thing. But, yeah, so that's that. Let's go set up a station here. This is gonna be our first train station, woohoo! So, regardless of what direction you're driving on, like whether you're doing left-hand or right-hand drive, this thing always needs to be on the right-hand side as the train drives. You see how these arrows go and they're pointing towards the station? This is what I struggled, like when I first started the game, I had the most frustrating time getting trains working because I didn't know this. Okay, if you don't place this on the correct side, it's not going to work. You're going to get no path errors. Okay, so you need to make sure that, like, for example, if I get rid of it, right, and I do this, you can see that it's now pointing the other direction. So now if my train was coming in left to right, then this would be right, or this would be correct, because if the train's coming left to right, it's on the right-hand side as the train drives. Okay, but since we're coming right to left, it needs to go on this side. Now, Will and the other guys like to leave a space here, like that. I don't really care, personally. I think this is totally fine. I mean, it does make a little more sense to have it here, so I'm just going to do it. So now, I guess this would be, well, this build locomotive. Thanks, game. I was going to say this is going to be where we decide if it's right or left-hand drive, but not really. Because right now, this is just going to be one line. We will actually have to redo it for a main line. But I don't have the resources like to build a full like 2-lane, 1-lane each way main line all the way back to base and get it all signaled and stuff right now. I desperately need some oil to get things working, and then we need coal. So let's not do that. I don't need solid fuel in that right now. Coal will work fine. I'd rather save the solid fuel for my tank. Like, look at this rail tanker, man. And just wait until I plug the tanks in. The pumps in. You're gonna see why I want to use this. A 111 for the oil is fine for right now. Once we get into megabase scale, I will most likely, almost guaranteed, bump it up to something bigger. But for right now, 75,000 oil. It's gonna take forever just to fill this thing. So these pumps, right? First off, we need to back him up. And we need to rename this station. So we're going to call this Oil 1. Simple. A few things to point out really quick, guys. On your map view, in 0.15, you can now, well, you can obviously zoom in like that, which I've showed before. But you can click on trains from the map view. You see he highlights. I can click on him, edit his schedule, do whatever. You can also click on and edit train stops. Now, I'm here. It doesn't matter if I'm here, actually. To zoom in on the map, you do need coverage either by a player or a radar. That's how I can zoom in here, like instead of, say, over here. It doesn't work. But for train stops and trains, you don't actually need a radar or a player there. You can just click on the train or train stop, regardless of if you have active coverage, which is really nice. So, yeah, just to show you, I'm just going to add it from here. It's obviously easier for me to do it not in the map view, but just to demonstrate. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to do either inventory full cargo wagon. That's not actually what we want. Well, actually, inventory full I think will work. But here's the interesting thing. So I'm not saying this is optimal. Disclaimer: I'm not saying this is optimal, but for my purposes right now, I don't want to wait for this thing to fill up all the way, because, you know, this could take like 15 minutes or something for this to fill up all the way. I don't want 15 minutes between trips, right? Between when I get oil and when I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a fluid count here. And I'm just going to say, if it gets above 10,000, bring it in. That way it's more frequent and just more, I don't want to say consistent. That's not really the right word, but more just, well, it is consistent. Like, it's just more frequent. So we'll have kind of more spread out oil rather than huge, you know, imports of it, like over very long periods of time, if that makes sense. I probably explained it in a bad way, but I think you get my gist. So if oil in here reaches 10,000 or more, it's going to leave. And then now what we do is we actually tell him to go here so I can line up the pumps. I've seen some people mention that, like in various places, that they're having issues getting the pumps to work. It's very finicky. So the first thing you want to do, guys, is you want to line up your train with the station like I just did. Make sure you tell it to go to the station. Don't try to do it manually, because that leaves room for error. I mean, you may get lucky, you may not. But if he goes there himself, you know it's lined up. And then these pumps, you kind of just position them with the tanker. They don't actually sit in the middle, so you kind of just got to guess a little bit. I think this will work, maybe. Obviously, make sure they're facing the right way. I've made that mistake before. I felt like an idiot. Now, oh god, I know I'm using a tank. However, this is actually kind of required now. Because if you don't use a tank here, and you're using, if you're using a fluid wagon, if you're using barrels and you would just buffer it in barrels essentially, if you're using a fluid wagon, if you don't have a tank here, it's going to take forever and going to be very inefficient, because it's only going to pump when this thing's here, since there's nowhere for it to actually go into unless the train's here. And for oil wells, something that's infinite, right? Oil's infinite. Your oil well never goes away. It just gets down to a certain point and then just goes from there for always. So with something like oil that's infinite, you actually want it to be working always. Like, you don't want this to stop, because since it is infinite, the longer, like the more it's working, the more oil essentially in the end you're gonna have, if that makes sense. Now this may be an absolutely terrible, we're gonna experiment, right? Okay, is this optimal? Probably not. And here's one last thing I want to touch on before I end this episode, because I'm probably over time, is people were commenting, they're like, you know, saying like, Xterm, why are you building spaghetti? You're not building optimal. You do a better, you know, workshop, building a better factory series. It's like, just wait, okay? You just got to be patient, guys. Okay, I'm not building completely optimal, most efficient possible thing now, because I want to play around, experiment with things, and this is why I'm having so much fun with this right now, right? Because I'm playing around with stuff. I'm building different builds. Some of it's spaghetti, sure, but the efficiency will come later, I promise you. Once we get into Megabase stages, I'm going to be pulling out every trick in the book in terms of efficiency and optimal builds, because we're going to need it. We don't need it right now, okay? Now, is it good practice? Sure. If I do it, am I going to be bored and burnt out? Probably, because I've done it a bajillion times, and I'm just going to be going through the motions. So again, once we get into Megabase, it'll happen, right? Don't worry, I haven't forgotten my practices. It'll be coming. So we don't have any power, unfortunately, to do this, but next episode, I'm going to come back right here so you can see this work. These things look so damn cool when they connect to this. And then we're going to build a rail back and get some oil flowing, and it's going to be great. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you did enjoy, and I'd love to hear any thoughts you have down in the comments. As always, I'm really, really enjoying the feedback from you guys in this series. And if you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.